I'm bringing you the continuing adventures of my most recent Gnoll Ice Elementalist of Gozag. So far this run has been going very, very well. Couple near-death scenarios, a couple self-inflicted, if I am being completely honest. Pretty respectable spell library that's coming along. I've got Rings of Intelligence, Magic Regeneration Amulet, and a Wizardry Ring. I have another Int plus 6 ring somewhere around the dungeon. The claim to fame is this pair of gloves I've got, which has everything a caster could need, and frankly, with plus 5 AC, everything a non-caster would ask for half the time also. Though that is admittedly my only particularly good find in the armor department. Being a Gozagite, I have a fair passel of... Sorry, being a Gnoll, I have a fair passel of artifacts that do a bunch of different things. One thing that I'm heavily considering right now is swapping off this scimitar. The triple cold resistance isn't very valuable to me because I already am running resist cold on my gloves, and I have a cloak of resist cold as well. Instead, I could be taking resist fire with slaying power, which is nice. It does give me a pip of resist necro, but which I don't have another source of. Anyway, it's just something to think about. I'm not married to the fact that this is a worthwhile shift. But if you look at all of the different choices I've got here, I'm not exactly excited to be wielding and unwielding most of these items. They all do something nasty to me. This one corrodes on damage. Oh, on damage, not on... Huh. This is cool, actually, that this deals corrosion only on damage. Fire and double necro resist is pretty cool. So there's probably a more effective combination of wearings that I could be considering now that I'm not doing. But yeah, last run also we cleared out 2 rune chambers, and I want to say we've cleared out all the way down to the depths, but we have not entered there yet. Yep. So now it's a choice between starting vaults or starting depths, either one of which could end this run pretty easily, and that is obviously not a prospect that I much relish at all. So where do we go from here? I think the most obvious thing to do is actually none of that. The first thing to do is going to be to go back and deal with all of the different exclusion areas that I've ignored thus far, because now I'm powerful enough that most of them should pose no real threat to me. So this is like free experience, which on a Gnoll is always a good thing. On any character is always a good thing. Shoot. Okay. With max cold resist, I'm not worried about these statues. Ooh! I've never had this scroll before, and it was the Holy Word. And I don't care about it very much. How do I get into here and get all of that fun stuff? Rock walls can be dug. I have digging. Let's dig our way in. Money, identify, and good stuff. Okay, next exclusion. So, as I was playing, you guys may have noticed how willing I was to bypass floors, skip floors, and just in general play it safe. In my experience, opinion, belief, that's what you have to do if you want to be even vaguely consistent at winning this game. Be willing to back off, be willing to start low, go slow. Because the alternative of trying to do things quicker and faster often just gets you killed. Tomb of Clay, eh? Well, I'll pick it up. Oh, I got statue form out of that. Statue form is a really good ability that I've pretty much never made use of. I probably need to at some point. Looks like some spammer has found my channel. What else we got here? Ice statue on D15? Yeah, I'll go to D15 and I'll knock out your ice statue. Why not? Plenty of gold I left sitting around here. Didn't actually finish the job. Probably I only had Okazoba's refrigeration back then. And without having a solid... Ooh, and a scroll of blinking? That's a great pickup. Yeah, without having a solid means of... Actually, that is my only source of resist electricity, and resist electricity has already saved my life this game against Nikola Tesla once. So let's not ditch that. Let's ditch amnesia. I'll always search the dungeon and get it back if I need it. probably not useful, but it is literally my only case. I don't want to carry arrows anymore. Oh, nope. Do not unwield this staff. For now, we're just going to have to wonder what it is. Eventually, I'll come back looking for a staff, and that's how I'll find it. Other exclusions are layer 4. So we'll head there next. GL4. Probably Oclob plants, is my guess. Oh, no. Interesting. I never actually took the loot at the end of the layer. But if I recall correctly, there was a nasty dire elephant or something. There's an elephant pack. And there's the dire elephant all the way at the end. And possibly it's already begun to make its way closer. So, well, I'm more than capable of surviving those now. So let's, if we have flying, now's a good time for it. Quaff flying. And open the door. And just start slicing and dicing. Oh, there it is. The elephant that we were talking about. Let's refrigerate. Reasonable damage to all of them. Pretty sure, yep, deep water does not slow him down terribly. Refrigerate. 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 There we go. Got him. And I actually lost my flight mid-flight. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not afraid of the exclusion anymore. We'll just knock him out. Grab gold, keep moving. Lindworm. Actually do not have any fire resistance equipped right now, so should probably give this kid a little more respect than I am. Orb him. Orb of Destruction is respect. Alright, I get a map. Staff. A File of Floods. So, because of the way evocables have been reworked for the most part, they don't run out. They just get decharged and recharged. So, given that that is true, I would probably be justified in taking this File of Floods and carrying it with me for a while. I don't know how they work yet, but again, that's hardly an excuse. That's just a lesson that I need to learn. How do I make good use of them? I've got Ice Blast and Acid aplenty. There are a few scenarios in which a puff of flame is going to do me more good than acid, so we'll take that. Okay, back to the dungeon. Oh, not the dungeon. Next is the spider nest. I believe there was an exclusion there. What do you mean you don't know how to get there? Oh, because of the exclusion on this door. Now, we will go to Spider 1 and see just how bad this is. So there's some good loot at the end of that tunnel. Potentially, anyway. I don't see any artifacts, so it's only so good. But I'm poison resistant, and they're all within LOS. If I go into that middle teleporter, I can probably refrigerate all of them in one turn. So, refrigerate a couple times and win? Let's see. 1... 2, 3. It was worth it just for the experience. We'll go ahead and finish the lot of them. Don't need a ruined rapier. There's no scenario in which a weapon that doesn't have intelligence on it is going to expite me that much. Or resistances. Alright, so there's nothing of value here. There is a new staff, but I don't care about staffs, so whatever. Similarly, don't care about Demon Blade of Electrocution, as cool as it is. Keep that staff outside in case I ever decide that there's staffs I want. Actually, that's an interesting question. Have they removed every staff that I care about from the game? Staff of... An item called Staff of... Death, Earth, Fire, Poison, Conjuration, Cold, and Air. So they're all spell enhancers now. It used to be that there was Staff of Channeling and Staff of Energy, and you know, the ability to gain mana back is very valuable, but that seems to be gone. So, once more the question. Do I, without fire resistance, attempt to push my way into these branches? Also, do I have fire resistance available to me? I can wear an amulet of fire and electric resistance to round out my spell schools, but in so doing, I would necessarily leave myself at risk of being slowed during combat. I can lose poison resistance in favor of fire resistance by changing my armor. Also not the ideal option. There's a third option. I could use I could ask Gozog to send some merchants to the dungeon. 3,000 gold would buy me a store could buy me armor that has more abilities. And when you consider that all of my armor is basic, actually very basic even, that actually becomes more tempting. I mean, I'm tempted not to do that because the dungeon itself might give me more cool stuff. But I'd rather have the cool stuff now and lose the money than have the money and lose the cool stuff later. So yeah, we're doing this. Pay 800 gold to bring a merchant to the dungeon. And the merchant will be an antique armor shop. Perfect. And here it is. Steaming robe, diamond leather, and what else? Theoretically, one of the cloaks all could be useful. So, you know, I like to think of this as an acquire scroll, a very expensive acquire scroll, the ability to get these guys to come to the dungeon. Well, this is straight up useless. There's no scenario in which I would want resist corrosion like that. What about the steaming robe? A robe of resist poison is, in my mind, better than a leather armor of the same if it makes my spells more castable. My armor training might be enough that it doesn't matter. 50% versus 58% for ignition. So it's a slight buff. Not probably enough to justify losing AC on, necessarily. Yeah, I'm gonna have to decline both of those artifacts for now. They have their place, it's just not on my body. And we'll throw more money at this problem. Let's go ahead and try out the glowing cloak. Am I satisfied with the cloak I have? Cloak of Preservation. What other kinds of cloaks are there in the game at this point? I used to love the Cloak of Preservation when item destruction was a thing, but it's not anymore. Item, cloak of. Okay, if it's not a thing, then what is it? A feature? Question item. No. Question slash skill, ability, spell, master, brand, maybe? No, that's not it. Alright, whatever. I guess I'll figure out as I go along. I don't... Well, yeah, if all preservation is doing for me is resisting acid and corrosion, then it's not actually super valuable compared to a scarf of fire resist right now. So I'll take the scarf of fire resist. Now I have a little bit of everything except electricity, and I can put on electricity at a whim. I can also put on a fire resist, if necessary, to go to 2 tiers. That's enough variety that I think I'm going to try the vaults. In we go. Oh, what a vault opening we have found here. Well, without question, the first thing to do is refrigerate. And now that they're all dead, we can come back. Orb, for a single target, Orb of Destruction tends to be ideal. Here the hallways can just beat him up. I don't think we need to do anything. Yeah, we're gonna refrigerate that guy to take him out immediately and head back in. You know, I just realized I also am wearing a shield, and the shield is probably hurting my casting as well. I am pretty close to casting Ignition, despite not having any of its, any trick to get it pre-trained. Just the Wizardry Ring. And as a Gnoll, that means that I'm training all my skills equally. That means I'm at 10 Fire Magic just off of my basic training, as well as every other type of my basic training. So all level 7 spells are available to me probably right now, and all level 8 spells are soon to be available to me. Man, this could be really fun as a Sif Muna player, to be honest. I gotta see how that plays out, because with Sif Muna you could memorize and unmemorize spells at will, practically. And couple that with the fact that you are growing in all spell schools, you'll eventually be able to cast your entire library instead of just the stuff you train towards. And that eventually is sooner than most other races who, you know, are not even close to your aptitudes. Alright, we're just gonna get out of here. Magic Regeneration is a very nice amulet to have for sustainability. But nothing, and I mean nothing, beats good play. Careful play, not overextending. What's better than regenerating HP quickly is to not lose it in the first place. The best regeneration tool for the vast majority of situations in the game is the staircase. And all that stuff still remains true. Well, if you're distracted, I will try to poison you rather than refrigerate you. And when you come a little closer, we'll hack you up. How many can I see at once? Perfect, that's enough to refrigerate. See, my standard builds would be trying to Mephitic Cloud or Freezing Cloud at this point, which is, you know, eventually it will click in and they'll start taking damage and they'll get confused and buy me time and space. But I've never used refrigeration before and it just blows them up. The best status effect to inflict is generally death. Hardest, but best. Yeah, we're just gonna have the walls beat you down, man. Walls of pain. I want them to come a little closer. Let's go ahead and start freezing them. Refrigerate did its job. We'll see if we can't get the warden also. Need one more pip of magic to really be able to do this. There it is. Boom. Warden's dead. Now I can retreat comfortably. Refrigerate. Refrigerate. And this sword is fire imbued, or Vorpal imbued, so should be reasonable against all targets. Okay. Frost Giant, not even a little worried. Just cut him up. Yeah, as much as I'm tempted to take the shield off for casting purposes, unless and until it specifically gets me the next tier of spell that I want, there's no point pre-unequipping it. Alright, cure it up. We're in. We're in. And it looks like nobody who's joined the stream yet. That's fine. Alright! Fire Dragon. Hey, remember how we discussed needing to have a fire on tap? Well, there it is. Fire on tap. Fireball. Or, not Fireball. Orb of Destruction times 2. Refrigeration probably would have worked just as well there, to be honest, because vulnerability to fire. Maybe even a little bit better. Next time I'll have to see. Another unwearable. Clearly we're not putting on this cloak or this robe just yet, so we'll take them both off. That was the wrong letter. Ooh, acquirement. R poison on a ring versus cash, which I don't actually need. Even all that money I just made, I just spent, I've already started to make back. What is this book? Nothing that I actually specifically want. I'm surprised they put my name on that book. Ignite Poison is a fun spell that I won't actually use. Yeah, eventually I'll get those spells anyway, so it's not worth it. Cash is always tempting, because I can always make use of cash. I think Resist Poison on a ring has its advantages. It frees up my armor slot, and still lets me resist poison when I need to. Yeah, I just convinced myself with that line of argument. We're just gonna take that. And whenever I need to resist poison, I whip this ring on. In the meantime, I don't need to wear poison resist as an armor, so I'm free to take fire resist as an armor with Slay Agency Invisible. Yeah. There we go. So Slay +5 is really nice. And my resistance pattern now is very good. The only thing I'm truly missing out on is poison. And in a pinch, or if desired, I can lose the wizardry ring to make room for this ring. I still see invisible from another source. I have poly-resists. And the only thing that truly suffers with lack of wizardry is Orb of Destruction becomes 22%. Which is bad, but not the end of the world. So, is wizardry more valuable than intelligence in that regard? Oh, way more valuable. So this reduces the spell power of all my spells fairly significantly. 38 and 76% versus 42 and 84%. So not even that much power loss. Yeah, I think that we just do this. We put on wizardry on this ring, and now we're poly-resistant. The only important resistances we're missing are corrosion and electricity. And I can get my Cloak of Preservation, if that's really important, and go down to 1. Nah, we're good. For now, I'm just gonna... I've decided I'm running with this, and that's all there is to it. The Slay +5 besides is a really nice bonus that... Even as a caster, it's easy. As a caster, it's easy to underrate the importance of it, but you shouldn't because. Ooh, fancy boots. Because even as a caster, you're going to do quite a bit of damage up front, up close and personal. Like now, I'm about to charge in and finish this guy off. The +5 to hit and +5 to damage makes a huge difference. Alright, what are we working with for boots? Ha-cha-cha! Boots of Flying. That would have been very useful a while back. But, no matter. I no longer need the evocable boots here. And I have way too much enchant armor already, so I'm just gonna go ahead and burn some scrolls to optimize out these boots. And we'll go from there. Oh, boy, that's a lot of ogres. Correction. That was a lot of ogres. Now it's a lot of money. Alrighty. I don't need the Ring of Fire. I probably don't need this ring, whatever it is, but let's find out. They always know how to tempt me. Would I rather have extra mana, or would I rather resist poison? I mean, both are important. But the problem with taking off resist poison is it's not relevant until you need it. And then, oh crap, I really needed that. Yeah, I'm just gonna learn to live within my means with 36 mana instead of having 45 mana, which is basically the same number. It's just a matter of actually using what you have correctly instead of, you know, running into battle and just spam, 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 spam. Promptly runs into battle and spams. Classic. Cyclops I can deal with. You, I don't even know what you are. Fire Giant Simulacrum? That's fine. Down you go. Okay, so looks like we've cleared out Volts 1 without too much difficulty. Yes. And let's see, has anybody new hopped in? Oh, hey, Silentes, welcome to the channel. Ooh, that's a lot of money. I wonder what's guarding it. My thoughts exactly. Yeah, this is good. I can run away very easily here, so I'm just gonna Okazobu's refrigerate a few times and then run for it. See what I can accomplish with that. Oh yeah, definitely. So I've got really solid poly resist, but I do not have good AC, so Lehudib's Crystal Spear is very much a scary thing right now, even so. Even still. Knock 'em, sock 'em, rock 'em. Okay, so we've more or less cleared this immediate vicinity around that treasure chamber. Let's take a closer look. It's just treasure? Oh, wow. Hey, guys, take a look at this. This is 1, 2, 4, 8, and this was 16. 8, 8, 4. This is like binary multiplication the entire way in. Somebody very OCD created this chamber. Blood chamber? Oh, and then because I'm a Gazagite, all the blood becomes money? Hey, I'll take that. Shoot. Right. I've seen enough. Time to go to the next staircase. Triple dipping, while generally almost always a correct move, if your build is strong enough, you probably don't need it. You probably can get away without it. It's still best practices, and, you know, when you're learning to play the game, you should learn to play it right, not learn to play it sloppily. That being said... No, sorry about the background noise, that's just the treadmill. So... Yeah, that being said, in places like Vaults, it's always worth your while to be extra careful. Because you can go from completely okay to hitting an emergency teleport very quickly. And when you hit an emergency teleport, not knowing where things are on the floor is a huge problem. Knowing where things are is nice, but even nicer is to know that you've already killed all the intervening monsters. Magic mapping gets you half the way, but having actually gone down each staircase and made it safe is the more important half. Take this for example, yeah? Let's say that, for whatever reason, I was running helter-skelter to get away from some fast-moving attacking creature, and I was coming to this staircase. I would have met 4 freezing wraiths backed by a soldier. Now, all those wraiths are dead, and the soldier's dead, so this whole area becomes a lot safer to run through. And 3 different places on the floor, if you descend from 3 different places from the floor, it makes it very likely that you've seen a significant percentage of what the floor has to offer. And that keeps you a lot safer. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, okay, I just walked into something. Something rather hectic here. Pardon me 1 second. I've gotta deal with emergencies both in and out of game. I will... Okay. So... my MR is okay, but not great. 2 pips is not a lot. This Sphinx can paralyze you. And by the looks of it, it's gonna be roughly not even 1 in 5 to succeed if it tries to do that. The rest of these monsters are too far to be much danger to me. But the scariest is this guy, because he can close the door and lock me in. I could immediately try to attack into all of them. I think the best thing to do would be Mephitic Cloud the locals. Now I'm not going to get locked out. Okay, despite being confused, he locked the door. Remember all that stuff I said about emerging? Oh, he didn't lock the door. That guy locked the door. And that's a warlord. So even if I manage to Okazoba's refrigerate a couple of these guys, I'm not going to be able to kill them all. Remember all that stuff I said about being able to retreat? Now is exactly when it's about to pay off. Because I'm not going to be able to stand and win this fight. I'm going to get ready to leave. I will, however, fire off 1 refrigerator or 2 just to thin their numbers. And see, I teleported not into danger while I had been flayed, but out of danger to a safe spot that I had cleared out because I triple-dipped staircases. Moral of the story. Always good to triple-dip staircases, but very important to do so in dangerous areas like the vaults. Come on upstairs with me, wouldn't ya? I'll vorpal you to death. Yeah, we can Okazoba's a couple times here. The problem is they're all cold enemies, so Okazoba's does decidedly less against them than it would against most. Still plenty of irresistible damage, just less than I'm used to getting. Yeah, you guys follow me. We're gonna walk our way back towards safety. Another staircase, another attempt. And see, it takes longer, but unless you're going for a record or you're, you know, for a low turn count record or something, or a high score, you have time. What you don't have is second life. So, it's better to be super cautious. Those rocks are really starting to add up. I missed my repel missiles scarf from my prior run. Actually, I think I found a repel missile scarf at some point. So these four Volters, the 4 human Volt subtypers are each very interesting and very dangerous in their own way. One of them in particular can summon swarms of enemies from anywhere to come and deal with you. So if you've left behind a dangerous dragon or something somewhere that you haven't met yet, oh, like these guys. Yeah, they can just suddenly show up next to you. The other guy can do what's happened to me and put Sentinel's mark on. Yeah, thing about Felid's extra lives is if you lose a life as a Felid, your odds of doing well go down. Not maybe in the late game, but in the middle to early game. Losing a level is a very big deal. My maybe my second win was with the Felid. And it had nothing to do with the extra life, and everything to do with having a very strong understanding of the power of summoning versus the power of conjuration. Alright, we're going to try and pick off the Warlord at this point. He's the one that keeps scaring me every time I see him. Okay. He's dead. Slug him with the refrigerator and heal up. That Sphinx is very much less scary when he's alone. It's being paralyzed in front of a group that scares me, not being paralyzed when there's nobody else to deal with me. Because paralysis is an interesting spell in that you cannot cure out of it because, you know, you're paralyzed. So it's a very thorough disable ability. Okay. Boom. Not good. Let's get back to the staircase. The Etten might be waiting for us. It is not, so yeah, despite the fact that Ozkazoba's refrigeration is awesome, and despite the fact that I'm trying to play an Ice Mage, there's something just very reassuring and familiar about spamming Orb of Destruction. It's a solid, single-target blast spell with excellent range that does more damage the further back you are. What's not to love? It almost always hits or visibly misses, as opposed to it hits the target but is considered a miss. It can't be evaded, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It can be blocked by shield, apparently. Twice. And it's even better when your Spellforged Servitor has no other spell but this, because you cast one 7-mana spell and he just keeps spamming kills over and over and over. Alright, I'm probably gonna have to stop streaming. There's too much interference here. If you guys can hear all that, let me know. If not, then my mic is doing a better job than I thought it was, but I'm pretty sure my headset is not super well shaped like that. I'll try and finish clearing the floor before then. And yeah, we'll keep my run going when I said. Yeah, that's what I figured. It is one of the dangers of trying to be streaming while having a wife, kids, etc. Your time is never fully your own. That being said, I have had plenty of time to get this run off off the ground, so that's nice too. Man, this floor is complex. I remember old vaults where there was... I remember old vaults where it was 8 floors, I think, but the 8 floors were much more wide open in the middle. A lot less of these narrow, tight chambers. I don't know if I preferred that or I prefer this. I will say, though, I think that the bottom, the Vault 5, should not have Vault Wardens. I think being in a position where you can potentially lose your ability to stair dance is unfair. Quick BRB, fellas. So this is my little one, Siraj. He is too small to say hello. Well, that's not strictly speaking true. He is exactly big enough to say hello, just not in English. Let's see. Nope, this is not a good spot to be. That is not for eating, son. There you go. Yeah, we're gonna have to back off here and let him come to us and then melee his ass. Boom. Simple. Orb. Ooh. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. This is the ideal situation to refrigerate everyone in. A bunch of small targets, all of whom were about to become much more dangerous, and now they are not, because they are dead. That was a scarf. I should go back and figure out what that scarf was. So Scarf of Resistance is awesome. I get that it's a cost to my AC not to be using a cloak, and that could be a relevant factor at some theoretical point. Also, at some point, an artifact will probably be more valuable than a non-artifact for that slot. But until those two things become true, it's pretty sweet to get 2 resistance points out of my wearing slot. Just the fact that the artifact cloak that I picked up with resist cold was cool to me suggests that I'm definitely going to find space for this in my future usage. So, lightning rod. I have yet to find one in the dungeon. I should probably pick one up at some point, but it's 570, and I'm probably gonna find one in the dungeon, and I'm not using it short term, and I have a wand of acid that's well charged, so I'm not gonna buy it. I'll wait till I find it. That leaves us with the scarf that I need oh, apparently a couple. Certainly one scarf that I need to investigate. Hey. You. Come to me. Both of you. I'll just knock these guys out the old-fashioned way. Oh, yeah, no, granted, I am playing Gazog, but again, the other way to think of it is, I'm playing Gazog, I'd rather spend that $500 buying a new merchant than buying a lightning rod that I'll get another. I mean, there's times where I would agree with you that, that having money is less good than having the item. Even if you end up finding another version of that item later, it's better to have it in the intervening time. But I just don't see a lightning rod as being valuable enough, I guess. Because in any situation where I would want to use the lightning rod, I can just as easily use my acid wand. At least those situations which are likely to come up. And I've got 30 charges on that acid wand. I can spray acid for days. Plus, not to put too fine a point on it, but I'm already struggling to find item slots for anything. Alright, let's go with the scarf. Probably I should get rid of my collection of weapons that I have no desire to use, but... Whoa! Yes! Repel missiles. Wait, lightning rod can't miss? Lightning bolt used to miss all the time. If lightning rod is not... Okay, that's a change I was unaware of, and that's huge. Because in any situation where I've been reduced to not using my magic abilities, one of the most important things in the world is to just get full right now and everything to... Well, yeah, but the AoE usage of lightning rod tends to be very weak compared to multicasting in a direct line. And in the situation I envision is I'm out of mana. Because I would almost always prefer to use my spells than to use my evocables. Although I am playing a Gnoll, and as a Gnoll, I am actually very well trained in evocables. And everything, actually. Random internet friend, you may have convinced me. I mean, certainly having a wand of paralysis sitting around does me less good than having a lightning rod. Nah, you know what? I'm gonna save my $500, because the fact of the matter is lightning rods turn up all the time, and there's a high probability of it turning up again. That being said, I'll know I can fall back on this if I need to. So with that completed... Do I want repel missiles or don't I? I like them. I love repel missiles as an ability in the vault because there are so many things that shoot at you that can be blocked and dodged. I am losing a pip of resist fire for that ability. I can always swap rings to put on a ring of protect fire. I don't need wizardry, probably. Let me see. Do I actually need wizardry? So that's an excellent resistance pattern. And that is a... Well, yeah, I kind of really do want wizardry. I've got the first pip. In a pinch, I can put on the second pip. And it buys me a repel missiles ability that I otherwise simply would lack. The most important missing resistance right now is, frankly, electricity. Yeah, exactly, right? Compared to 9%. Does the color... this is actually a good question for me. Does the color coding matter for miscasts? Because I've always noticed that... I have noticed that the color can remain red even as the percentage gets fairly low. Got it. So that corresponds to how bad a miscast will hurt rather than the probability that it will even occur. And that makes sense, because you don't need a color to tell you what the percent is already telling you. So this is an intentionally difficult design. Whoever designed this vault has intentionally made it more difficult by putting two staircases one next to the other. And in so doing, they made the triple dipping less effective. You know that repel missiles feels really good right now. You know that, right? Alright, you guys are gone. There's a teleport trap guarding that other side of the door, so they don't even want me to know what's on the other side. Pardon me 1 second, y'all. Yeah. Nah, you know what? I'm already feeling it. I'm getting more and more sloppy. So, crawl lessons. 2 lessons to take home. 1, money does you no good in your pocket. If there's a better way to spend it, spend it. Obviously, you can choose to save for later, which is what I'm doing with that lightning rod. But before I entered the vaults, I assessed that my biggest weakness was not having adequate choices for my armor. And I opted to reshuffle a bunch of items and rings to optimize my resistance pattern before going into vaults. I did that by paying Gozog for a store, even though I'm probably going to find more stores later, because having more than 3,000 gold doesn't really help me win the game. I'm better off spending 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 gold and, you know, farming for decent drops than I am pushing really hard to make more money that doesn't go anywhere. So, that's the first thing. Use your resources to mitigate your weaknesses. The second lesson is the one that's a little more invisible. When you sense that you are not playing well, try to stop playing. Right now, I'm definitely feeling that just one more push to keep going, and I can tell that my IRL distractions are piling up. That makes for very sloppy play, where you make sloppy play decisions that you then regret horribly because you see the "you die" screen. And the "you die" screen undoes all the little advantages you were hoping to build up. So, quit while you're ahead, come back and play again, no penalty for saving your game and picking up again later. But there is no way to save your game and reload if you die. So, with that said, I'm going to call it here. Gnoll of Gazog continues to roll and is still fighting. End stream session. What is this? 3? 4? I forget. I think I'm on my 4th now. But yes, things are going really well. 4.5 hours in. Vaults looks like I'll be able to get to the bottom without too much difficulty. I'm very likely to die in Vaults 5, depending on how things go. So maybe I'll take a different direction when I get there and do something else, or maybe I'll tough it out. I don't know, we'll see. But for now, thank you all for watching. It was great chatting with you, Solentis. Shout out for hanging out with me here. And I will see you all next time.